It must be available for Australian women so they can make their own minds up about it.
We are being asked to import it not on medical grounds, we're being asked to import it on ideological grounds.
Tonight, two doctors on different sides of the abortion pill divide take their case to Canberra as MPs prepare for a conscience vote.
You never know whether you're going to be swayed until you've actually heard the argument.
To add to the various controversies already swirling around the Parliament this week, the Prime Minister has paved the way for the eventual use of the contentious abortion bill RU486 by confirming he'll allow coalition MPs to take part in a conscience vote on the issue. Already there's resistance in the Parliament to Mr Howard's desire to delay that debate until next year, but in any event, with a majority of coalition MPs refusing to declare how they'll vote on the issue, those campaigning for and against the introduction of the drug are marshalling their forces. Today, two Queensland doctors each made the journey to Canberra to join the lobbying effort, each coming to this debate from very different perspectives. Nick Grimm reports.
Yes, so the results are back. That's good.
There is so much complacency among my colleagues who say that this drug is just absolutely safe and it'll be fine.
Dr David Van Gend and Professor Caroline De Costa are both medicos working in regional Queensland.
I believe that safe legal abortion must be available for women.
Both have vastly different points of view about the so-called abortion pill, RU486.
And there is this choice, medical abortion, for women overseas. And really, it must be available for Australian women so they can make their own minds up about it.
We are being asked to import it not on medical grounds, we're being asked to import it on ideological grounds of increasing choice.
We'll just get that done there.
The two doctors are taking their views and their arguments to Canberra ahead of a looming conscience vote over whether or not the drug should be allowed into the country. Cairns-based Caroline De Costa is a professor of obstetrics and gynaecology and is leading an effort to have RU486 officially sanctioned. She's applied to the Therapeutic Goods Administration to review and list the drug.
It's certainly as safe as surgical abortion. It has a very, very low mortality rate. It doesn't interfere with the uterus and cervix the way that surgical abortion can, because instruments aren't required.
Among Caroline De Costa's patients is a woman we'll call Julie. Both patient and doctor believe the circumstances of her recent pregnancy underscore the importance of the availability of RU486. Julie was raped.
Why does a difficult choice have to be made harder than it has to be? And also that if there is a better alternative out there, why can't we take it? I think what annoys me most about this debate, Nick, is that it seems to be fought on so many levels. It's fought on a religious level, it's fought on a political level. Everyone's got an opinion about it. Well, can't we just cut all that crap and focus on the actual medical debate? Yeah.
But Caroline De Costa and those like Julie who support her cause are facing opposition from those who don't want RU486 brought into the country.
You never know whether you're going to be swayed until you've actually heard the argument or the evidence. But certainly, when this issue was first raised publicly, I sought advice from the Chief Medical Officer that I didn't see any argument to change the existing situation.
Federal Health Minister Tony Abbott is the man with the power to overturn the policy that effectively bans the drug. He's cited medical advice that RU486 poses a health hazard for women living in rural and remote Australia. It's an assessment that's been criticised by the Australian Medical Association and the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynaecologists, who argue the drug would only be given to women with access to emergency health care. But some doctors share the Health Minister's concern.
The jury is out on its safety, and I think it'll be found to bring in new layers of harm, new types of harm to women beyond what the surgical abortion.
At Toowoomba in southern Queensland, there are many who are strongly opposed to abortion. It's here that Dr David Van Gend practices as a local GP. He's also the Queensland Secretary of an organisation that calls itself the World Federation of Doctors Who Respect Human Life.
Bringing in RU486 is a lazy way out. The serious policy task is to change our structures, change our support so that women are affirmed from the first time they find they're pregnant, and society adapts to make their path easier through what is always a very difficult time.
Dr Van Gender's not alone in his opposition to RU486 either.
Once again, women are robbed of any real choice. And when it comes to their own health and well-being, that's a travesty.
Last Friday night in Brisbane, hundreds attended a function organised by Women's Forum Australia, a pro-life group that believes abortion is being forced on women.
We've got all this political will to give women a drug, a poisonous drug, a chemical cocktail to abort their pregnancies. What about some political will into providing women support and bringing about structural changes so that they can have their children and don't have to have unwanted abortions?
So Julie, you feel quite sure about your decision now that we've talked it over?
But a rape victim like Julie believes RU486 is one sure way of helping those with unwanted pregnancies.
This is about giving women who are in an unfortunate situation a better means of addressing that situation and also a means of addressing it that, isn't so invasive and is safer.
It can also be used in circumstances where surgical abortion isn't easily available. It gives women privacy and perhaps a sense of control over the process, which they don't necessarily get from surgical abortion.
And now, further complicating the debate over RU486 comes the news from the United States in the past week that an inquiry has been launched into the deaths of 4 healthy young women in California over the past 2 years. Now, in each case, the women had died from a particularly aggressive womb infection, and all of them had died within a week of taking the abortion pill. The question for investigators is, was it RU486 that killed them?
Now, 3 of the families are suing the drug company. The drug company only last week in the New York Times says we have no answers. We have no rolling theories as to why this has happened.
Well, one doesn't want to diminish the tragedy of any death, but the 4 deaths have taken place all in California, whereas the drug itself has been available throughout the states, and there have been more than 500,000 successful medical abortions in the United States since the drug was introduced in 2000.
In the meantime...
Today, the 2 Queensland doctors pounded the corridors at federal parliament, meeting MPs in an effort to persuade as many of them as possible that their point of view is the right one. It may have been they were simply preaching to the converted. That will be seen when the issue goes to a conscience vote, as promised by the Prime Minister today.
I feel that they have the opportunity to regain some integrity, both for policy and for the medical profession.
I don't think that this rather offensively patronising decision should be made by other people. I think that provided it is approved by the TGA, then it's up to Australian women to make that choice. And I think they should be offered that choice, as many women overseas have been.
For the moment, that choice will rest with the Parliament. That report from Nick Grimm.